There's a pattern I want to talk about today. You probably know what I mean before I even describe it. You've been doing it for years, maybe your whole adult life. You decide to change something. You really decide, not the half decision where you tell yourself you'll start Monday, the real one, where you actually feel it in your chest, where you're done with the old version of yourself. And for about 3 weeks, sometimes a month, sometimes 6 weeks if you're lucky, you do it. You wake up early, you eat better, you don't drink, you don't scroll for 4 hours, you feel different. People notice, and then something happens. Maybe it's nothing big, a bad day at work, a weird text from someone you used to know, a weekend where you don't sleep well, or sometimes nothing at all, like just a Tuesday where you feel a little off, and you're back, not all the way back. Just one slip, one night of bad sleep, one day of not training, one evening of 3 hours on your phone. But you know how this goes because 2 weeks later, you're exactly where you started. Maybe even further behind because now you're disappointed in yourself on top of everything else. So that's what I want to dig into. Because I lived in this loop for years. And once I figured out what was actually happening, it stopped having power over me. Here's the first thing I had to accept: the loop isn't a willpower problem. I spent so long thinking it was. Like, if I just wanted it more, if I was more disciplined, if I just tried harder this time, it would stick. That's not how it works. When you fall back, it's not because you suddenly became weak, it's because the version of you that wants to change and the version of you that's been doing the same things for 10 years, they're not the same person yet. The new version is still being built. He's like 2 weeks old. The old version has been around for your entire life. When stress hits, who do you think your nervous system reaches for? The 2 week old guy who's making new decisions, or the lifetime version who already has all the patterns memorized? It's not even close. Your brain doesn't know that scrolling for 3 hours is bad for you. It knows that scrolling makes the discomfort go away faster than anything else you've tried. That's why you keep doing it. Not because you're weak, because your brain is doing exactly what it's been trained to do. So the first step, before anything else, stop framing this as a willpower thing. It's not. You're not lazy. You're not undisciplined. You're just trying to outpace a decade of conditioning with 2 weeks of effort. And then you wonder why it didn't work. There was a stretch, I think it was about a year, where I genuinely thought there was something wrong with me. I'd start something, quit drinking, hit the gym, eat real food, read instead of scroll. 3 weeks in, things were going well. Then I'd have one bad night, and within a week, I'd be back to all of it: phone, bad food, no gym, no sleep. And every time it happened, I'd think, okay, this time I really learned my lesson. This time, it'll stick. It never stuck. What I didn't understand back then is that the loop isn't about the thing you slipped on. The slip is just the symptom. The actual loop is you stop doing the small things first, you don't notice. Then bigger things start sliding. Then one stress event hits and suddenly you're back at zero. It's not the one bad night that put you back. The one bad night just made visible what had already started 2 weeks before, when you stopped going to bed on time, when you let your phone come into the bedroom again, when you stopped logging your meals, when you skipped one workout and didn't really care. That's where the loop actually broke. Not on the bad night 2 weeks before. I think a lot of guys never figure this out. They beat themselves up over the slip without ever looking at the slow drift that came before it. Something else I had to learn, and this one's going to sound weird: your old self misses you when you're gone. Sounds dramatic. Stay with me. When you start changing, the old you doesn't just disappear. He's still there. The version of you who scrolls for hours, who drinks too much, who avoids the gym, who has the same conversations on the couch with the same friends about nothing. He's still in there. He just got less attention for 3 weeks, and he's been there your whole life. He's not going to let go because you decided you want to be different. He's going to wait, patient, watching for the moment when you're stressed, tired, lonely, or just a little bored. And then he's going to step right back into the driver's seat. Most guys don't see this happening. They just feel the slip. They don't realize they had a fight on their hands the whole time. They just lost it before they knew it started. Once you see this, it changes everything. You stop trying to become a new person and start understanding that you're managing a version of yourself that doesn't go away. He stays forever. The win isn't killing him. The win is building the new guy strong enough that the old guy starts getting less time in the chair. Actually, wait, let me back up for a second because I just made it sound like there's this clean enemy inside you that you fight against. That's not really how it feels when you're in it. When you're falling back into the loop, it doesn't feel like a battle. It feels reasonable. It feels like you've had a hard week. You deserve to relax. One night of scrolling isn't going to kill you. You can start again tomorrow. That's the thing nobody warns you about. The loop doesn't feel like the loop while you're in it. It feels like common sense. It feels like rest. It feels like being kind to yourself. Like that's the trick. If it felt obviously bad, nobody would do it. The whole reason this pattern repeats for years is because it convinces you every single time that this time is different. This time it's okay. This time it makes sense. 6 months later, you look back and realize that rest was actually 2 weeks of zero progress. Those small slips were actually a slow rebuild of every habit you said you were quitting. But in the moment, felt fine. Okay, so what actually breaks the loop? Because I'm not going to sit here and just describe the problem for minutes. That doesn't help anyone. What actually broke it for me, and I don't know if this works for everyone, but it worked for me, is I stopped trying to be a new person and started focusing on one specific thing. Not 5 habits, not a morning routine, not a complete lifestyle overhaul. One thing. And the thing had to be small enough that I literally could not fail at it. Not small enough that it's reasonable, small enough that there was no situation in my life where I couldn't do it. For me, it was every single day, the moment I wake up, before anything else, I drink a glass of water and I make my bed. That's it. That was the whole change for like the first month. I didn't go to the gym. I didn't fix my diet. I didn't read books. I didn't quit anything. I just drank water and made the bed. Sounds stupid, I know. But here's what happened. I didn't fail. Not once. For 30 days straight, I did the thing. And something started shifting that I wasn't expecting. I started trusting myself. I'd said I was going to do something, and I'd done it. Every day, no exceptions, even when I felt terrible, even when I was hungover, even when I didn't want to, it happened. After about a month of that, I added one more small thing, a walk around the block before breakfast. That's it. Just a walk, not exercise, just a walk. Did that for another month, then added something else. By the end of 6 months, I'd built like 15 small things on top of each other, none of which I ever broke because each one was small enough that breaking it was impossible. And here's the wild part. By month 9, I was a different person, not because I made a decision, because I'd quietly built 120 days of evidence that I keep my word to myself. That's what breaks the loop. Not motivation, not discipline, not some big decision. Small things kept perfectly for long enough that you finally start to trust yourself. There's another piece to this I want to mention. The loop isn't just behavioral, it's emotional. Every time you fall back, something inside you takes a small hit. You promised yourself something. You broke the promise. Your brain registers that. Even when you don't consciously think about it, the trust drops a little. Do this enough times, and most of us have done this hundreds of times by our late 20s, and you arrive at this place where you genuinely don't believe yourself anymore. You make a plan. Your brain quietly says, "Yeah, right, we've heard this before." That's the real damage of the loop, not the lost months, the lost self-trust. You can rebuild it, but not by doing another big plan that's going to fall apart in 3 weeks. You rebuild it by being smaller, more honest, more patient, by making the bed every day for a month before you tell yourself that you're going to overhaul your life. Like, you're not just trying to change behavior, you're trying to convince yourself that you're someone who can be trusted with the change. That takes time. There's no shortcut. And every time you go for the big dramatic transformation, you set yourself up for another round of the loop. Now, I want to be honest about something. This isn't going to fix you. What I'm describing, small things kept consistently, that's the only thing that's ever actually worked for me. But I still slip, not into the full loop anymore. But I have weeks where I'm worse than other weeks, months where things slide. The difference is now I don't reset to zero. I don't have to start over. I just notice the slide, do the small thing tomorrow, and pick back up. But I want you to know the goal isn't perfection. The goal isn't never falling. The goal is making the falls smaller and recovering faster. The men I know who actually built lives they wanted aren't disciplined in some superhuman way. They just have a shorter recovery time. They slip on Monday. They reset on Tuesday. They don't spend 2 weeks in self-pity and bad food before climbing back out. That's it. That's the whole skill. If you take nothing else from this, don't try to be a guy who never falls. Try to be a guy who's back on track within 24 hours of slipping. That's 100 times more achievable, and it's where actual long-term change lives. I'm going to land this somewhere specific. If you've been stuck in the loop for years, and I mean years, not weeks, there's no big dramatic answer. I wish there was. I'd give it to you. What there is one small thing you can do tomorrow morning that you can't fail at. Drink the water, make the bed, do 10 push-ups, don't pick up your phone for the first hour. Write one sentence in a notebook. Whatever it is, make it so small that no time or too tired can't be excuses. Do that one thing for 30 days. No exceptions, no skips. No, tomorrow I'll do 2. If you can do 30 days of one tiny thing, something starts shifting that you can't feel yet. By day 60, you'll notice. By day 90, you'll be different, not new, not transformed, just slightly more trustworthy to yourself than you were. That's the whole game. Most guys hearing this are going to do nothing. They're going to agree, feel something, and tomorrow, scroll right past it. If you actually do the thing tomorrow, even if it's making the bed, you're already ahead of 90% of the men who watch this. Pick the thing tonight. Before you sleep, make it small, stupidly small, then do it tomorrow and the day after.
Alright, that's where I leave it for today. Look, I'm not here to motivate you. Motivation runs out by Wednesday. What works is what I described in this video. Small things, done consistently for longer than you think you can. Most people watching this won't try it. They all agree, feel something, scroll past, do nothing. If you actually try one thing, even something small like making the bed every morning, you're already ahead. Drop your one thing in the comment. I read all of them. Take care of yourself.